We are joined this evening on the Talk Back with the outgoing Lucas County Commissioner, Ben Konop. Thanks very much for your time. Let's look back on your time as County Commissioner.
Sure.
What would you say was your greatest accomplishment?
Well, I think in large part probably challenging the status quo and actually standing up to some of the vested interests, some of the powers that be, the quote-unquote good old boys network, and actually providing an alternative path for the community. Whether we fulfilled that path, I think, it still remains to be seen. But I think I was successful in at least showing, hey, there's another way to do business here in Lucas County. We've been doing things the same way for a long time. It hasn't been working. Why don't we try some new things? All those new things haven't come to fruition yet, but at least I was able to give that vision to the community.
If there was one thing you would have liked to accomplish that you didn't get done, what would it have been?
Well, you know, I think long-term, the best thing this community could do would be to invest in its people. And that would be through worker training and education. And I had a large education initiative that would have provided scholarships for thousands of displaced workers in this community to go back to school and then give something back to the community because they wouldn't have to pay it back through dollars. They would be able to volunteer. And it would have been a win-win for the community. No taxes would have been raised at all to generate the funds for it. That didn't pass, obviously. I would have liked to have seen a property tax cut. I advanced that in the last couple months, and I think that could have been a real stimulus to the economy, $25 million stimulus. That didn't pass. So those are a couple of regrets, but like I said, overall, at least I got these issues out there, and now maybe someone can carry the mantle, so to speak.
If I were to describe the way I've seen some interaction between you and the other commissioners, tumultuous kind of comes to mind. They even canceled the last meeting. I know you were going to do some thank yous.
That was nice,
What happened? How did it get to that point?
It's actually interesting you say that because I've been thinking about that. You know, people may be surprised to know, for my first year in office, I did not cast one no vote. I voted with them the entire first year of my office.
Right? Okay.
And going into the position, I felt, you know, we're all Democrats. I thought we'd kind of reach consensus. But I think, you know, there was a generational gap, obviously. They've been in politics pretty much their entire adult lives, 30 years at this point. I look at things from a different perspective. I'm a different generation. I've lived in other cities, and I've come back to Toledo, so I see things maybe from that perspective. And I think there needs to be a sense of urgency in this community. I didn't see that from the other two commissioners. So, we certainly didn't click, you know, but I don't think that you don't get elected to become friends with people.
Sure.
Right? You get elected to actually change the community. That's what I ran on. I ran on a platform of change. And so I was more interested in doing that than, you know, slapping backs with other politicians and schmoozing in government center. And so, you know, it was a balancing test, and I chose to focus on my agenda and focus on the community rather than schmoozing.
Okay, so you're headed to Washington now, I understand. What are you going to be doing there?
I hope to continue serving the public in some capacity, you know, on the federal level. And in a lot of ways, I think I can do more good for Toledo from Washington, D.C. than from Toledo because of the dynamic we had on the board, where I just had two other colleagues that were dead set against change and really circled the wagons for the status quo. So I think going to D.C. Hopefully will provide this community with a voice, and communities like it that I think get overlooked a lot of times in the political process in Washington.
Okay. Yes, no. Will we see Ben Konop in politics again?
Oh.
No, that wasn't a choice. Yes or no?
In politics, yes.
Okay.
Whether an elected office, you know, I think that's maybe slightly less likely. But I got to be involved. I mean, I love our community. I love trying to make some change. And I kind of look at myself as maybe a political expeditionary. I don't know where I'm going to end up. I just know I want to go somewhere. I want to try and help this community go somewhere. So I think to do that, you have to be in the political process. Whether or not I'm crazy enough to run for office again, that remains to be seen.
Well, we wish you luck, whatever you decide.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yes.
And that is your Talk Back.